Hi, I'm Lizzie and this is Lizzie Reads, and welcome to 10 Books to Break Your Reading Slump. So, I mentioned in a few videos that I'm in a massive reading slump, and I did a sit-down video I filmed the other day where I unhauled books, and it got me really back into sort of thinking about sit down videos a little bit more, as I've mainly been sort of doing loads of vlogs and everything like that recently. But I thought I would do another one where I talked about books I thought could break your reading slump. So I'm going to recommend you 5 books which I think could break your reading slump for different reasons, and I'm also going to tell you 5 books that I'm planning on reading to break my reading slump for different reasons. So essentially here we've got sort of like 10, some of them overlap slightly, different reasons and different books, types of books to try to break a reading slump. Some of it you've definitely heard before, but I just thought I'd give it a go, and it's something that I can talk about at the moment because I'm not reading so much, so yeah, it's not too bad. First of all, one that's always recommended when in a reading slump is to read a graphic novel, and the recommendation that inspired this pick was Paper Girls Volume 1. Now, I love this series. It's one of my favourite graphic novel series of all time. It's really beautiful, and it's about 4 paper girls from the 80s in America who deliver the newspapers. They do the paper round. On the morning of one of their paper rounds, there's basically the skylight cracks open, and there's this weird sci-fi stuff starts happening. And I started to hear about it when just when Stranger Things first come out, and everyone was sort of saying, oh, it's like Stranger Things but all girls, graphic novels, blah blah blah. And it's really fantastic. I really love it. It goes to some really weird and wacky, wild and wonderful places, and I'm really excited because this Friday the 29th of July, hopefully this video goes out before then, the series premieres on Amazon Prime, so that'll be really good. So it's a really timely one. So I think it not only does it link up with the graphic novel, it also links up with the idea that you can watch something that matches it, and it gives you sort of like gives something extra there. So yeah, that I'm really excited for the TV show. I would definitely recommend Paper Girls as a slump busting. It's so quick and easy to read, and I think there's 7 of them, and yeah, it's nice to sort of binge a series and feel like you're still reading in a slightly easier format. If you watch more contemporary fiction style YouTube, this one you might have seen before. It is quite popular. It was very popular last year, but on a lot of the sort of booktube that I consume, it hasn't been talked about a load, and that is The Appeal by Janice Hallett. It is super popular, but it depends what sort of genres you mainly sort of are interested in. This is a mystery, and its main selling point is that it is a dossier. So it is mainly comprised of emails and little notes and texts. There are texts in there, and there are other sort of trying to find, I found one and then I lost it. There we go. And other bits and pieces in there. And it's basically about where there's been a murder, and there's 15 suspects, and sort of there's this task has been assigned to 2 people to try and sort of figure out who done it, based on a series of emails and threads from a local drama group, and in a small village. It's very gripping, mainly because of the style. I think the actual mystery not that intriguing. It's intriguing but not that intriguing, nothing novel, but the format really pushes it along, and Janice Hallett really grabs sort of these small town village characters quite easily, which is quite good. It's quite a fast-paced one, and I think like a mystery or a thriller, I think a mystery or a thriller is a really good one to sort of start getting into reading again, because I sometimes find you can get get into them straight away and get really gripped by the story. And I think the interesting format of that kind of offsets the fact that this is quite a chunky book. So definitely one I would recommend if it's not something you considered. Next we have a middle grade, and I often suggest middle grades or think about middle grades when I'm in a slump, because they're so easy to start and get into, and some of my favourite books ever are middle grades. And I've gone for one that is very, 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 very popular, but it was between this and Nevermore. There are some that are my favourites, but I can see that they potentially might not have a universal appeal, or I can see where they just grab, like I know why they grab me specifically. But one that's a little bit more universal and a little bit of an easier one to suggest or recommend. Sorry, I've got the hiccups. And that is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Now, you may have this on your shelf, and if you have this on your shelf and you, or in your Scribd saved or something, I don't even know if it's on Scribd, but you have it somewhere and you've been thinking, oh yeah, I'll get to that, put down whatever you're reading out and read it, because it's fantastic. It's excellent. One of the best middle grades I've ever read, up there with Nevermore, which was the other one I considered, but I feel like Nevermore's been around for longer, so I think there'll be people out there who haven't given Amari a chance yet. I love Amari and the Night Brothers. It's fantastic. It's I think it says it on here, but a lot of people have compared it to Men in Black. It's about a young girl called Amari. Her brother's been missing for about a year, and she knows he's not missing. She said that something's wrong, and he said that he worked for the FBI, and when he goes missing, obviously the police are informed, and they say nope, he never worked for the FBI, and everyone's like, oh, he's a drug addict. No, they say he was into drugs, because they're from the rough part of town, because they're black. There's a lot of stereotypes that are thrown at them from this, and Amari is the only one that really believes that something is wrong, and there's something wrong with her brother. So something's off. And in this we find out that although Amari's brother was lying, he was only doing it to protect her, because he worked for the the Magical Bureau of Supernatural Affairs. So basically he was a supernatural FBI agent, and basically she gets pulled into this world, and it goes from there. And it's really, it's so good, so magical, it's so fantastic, it's got so many twists and turns. There's so much, my face hurts from smiling because I love it so much. It's so fantastic. And Amari and the Night Brothers 2, I can't remember what it's called, it's coming out soon, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing. B.B. Alston is incredible. Fantastic. Next, to talk about a book that was, again, another one of my absolute favourites last year, and that is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. The reason I think this might be a really good slump buster is because it is written in verse. Now, I've not really read many books written in verse, and I was hesitant to try this out. But the format and the words is it's so beautiful, and I just loved every single minute of it. I read this in one afternoon sitting at the beach last year, on a beach day, that I consumed the whole book in one sitting because I just couldn't put it down. I thought it was fantastic. The Black Flamingo is about a young boy called Michael, and it starts from his childhood all the way up to university, and it sort of spans him grasping his identity as a black gay man in England. He goes to university in Brighton, which is in England known to be quite a open and welcoming place for the LGBT community. Well, it's very Brighton is very much the heart of the British gay community. It's definitely very iconic in that area, and I live nearby, and it's a really lovely place. But when he goes there, he starts to explore these things even further, and he even starts to explore drag, and that it's just incredible. I've never read anything like it really before. Just I thought it was so good, and it was such a fast and easy read and so consumable, and there's moments of it that just like flash in my head every now and again, and yeah, I really loved it, and I can't wait. I know I really need to read only on the weekends, but it's been a little while, and because I've been in a reading slump, I haven't been buying books because of moving and stuff. I haven't got around to it yet, but I'm really looking forward to savouring that one. So again, very different reasons for why you might pick that up. And the last one is notably, potentially, maybe the easiest reason, and the thing that drives some of my reading the most when I'm feeling slumpy, and that is a romance. I've picked Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Very a huge fave, a big TikTok fave. I have a lot of popular romance reads. I've got some more underrated romance reads, but I think this is quite a solid one for if you're in a reading slump. It's not too long. It's about 336 pages. It's around 330 pages, and it follows two best friends, or a couple called Lily and Lo, and Lily is a sex addict and Lo is a drug addict. They are both trust fund babies at college in America, and they're in a relationship, except their relationship is not real. Their relationship is fake, and it is because they've been best friends for their whole lives, and they're using this relationship to cover the fact that they have addictions and cover it from their families, as both their families are they're supposed to be like parasitic or something, I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to read about spoiled rich kids in love, fucking shit up, loads of drama, really high drama. It was fantastic, really good, really addictive, really easy to sort of get lost in the story. I've read the 0.5 and then the second full novel, and I'm moving on to the next one soon, so hopefully that gets me back into it. And that leads on quite nicely to the books that I'm going to use to break my slump, because I'm starting with the next in the series for Addicted to You. I don't have it yet, I'm waiting for it to come in the post, and that is Kiss the Sky. So this is the first in the LiQWYD Sisters series, but it's part of this series. It's part of the whole entire sort of world. It's a part of the whole entire LiQWYD Sisters world, and it follows Rose and Connor. And yeah, I think having a romance that's in a series will be really good for me to sort of pick back up, try and get lost in this world a little bit. So yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to picking up. And then also my next one that I'm going for is, I'm also going for a reread. I decided to read a book that I've read a few times and I really loved it. I haven't read it in a few years, but I did really love it, and it used to be such a booktube darling, but it's a very easy read, and that is Illuminate by J. Christoph and Amy Kaufman. I know this book's really overread, but I find it really enjoyable. I love the format and the mixed media sort of format. This is a sci-fi story set on an AI ship with really strong AI, and essentially it's just a dossier of how things went wrong. There's 3 of them. I haven't read a sci-fi in a while, so I think that could be quite good. I think it would be nice to sort of revisit this series and see if I enjoy it as much as I used to. And also, as far as I remember, these books are so consumable. And I remember really loving the little romances in them. This is when I started to realise that I think I might be a bit of a romance bitch. Did I act on it? No I didn't, but it's fine. Next I'm going for something that could be a bit of a hindrance but could also be a massive help, and that is Go With The Project. So I've got Vagina here by Naomi Wolf, and Vagina, a new biography, is literally a non-fiction work about covers so much things, like it talks about sex, it talks about orgasms, it talks about the way the vagina is seen, it talks about trauma on the vagina, it talks about the contraceptive pill and how it fucking ruins your life sometimes, and that's really fascinating to me, and there's so much I've been learning from this. There's a lot that I think is incorrect, factually incorrect. I have read this before, but it was 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't really remember any of it. And also a lot of the stuff I read in there I didn't take in. I think I still had a lot of internalised misogyny about the vagina. I just wasn't taking it at that time, and I think that's really interesting. But reading this as like a project, like reading a chapter every couple of days, trying to insert it into my reading routine, it's been a bit of a stop and start process, but I think once I sort of manage to get this into my reading routine, it will feel like I'm back on track again. I'm back out of that slump because I'll be continually focused on reading. So yeah, that's something really exciting for me. Then next, I've gone for something that's kind of a mix of two of the other sort of steps. I've gone for something that's a middle grade, that's cozy, and I've kind of read it before, but not all the way through, and that is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. This is a classic, it's quite an older middle grade. It is the story of Meggie, and she finds out that when her dad reads aloud, characters come to life, and it opens this whole other world for her. Now, I read this when I was a kid, but I didn't finish it. I always found it really, really hard to finish it. But I've read it, I think I've tried to start it a couple of times and found like it took too long to get through, or there was something and I had to return it to the library. I was always borrowing it out of the library and then just never ever finished it. And the story has always seemed so magical and fascinating to me, but I just never finished it. So it's one that I really would like to read, and I'm kind of reading it as part of another, not only bringing myself back to reading, bringing myself back into sort of more fantasy reading as well, is something that I'm looking at, and this is one of my steps along the way. But I'll explain more about that when I get to that video. So yeah, that's one I'm really, really excited about reading. But again, I have a final book, number 10, and that is the book you really, really, really want to read, but putting off for whatever reason. And this book is a book that coincides with tip number 5 and tip number 6, and that's a romance. And this is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, which is book 1 of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I have wanted to read this for so long. I've wanted to read this since about March, April time. And when I first started to hear about it, when I saw that there was a playlist in the front of the book, the playlist has White Horse Taylor's version on it. I've mentioned this in so many reading vlogs. I've mentioned that White Horse is my ideal third act breakup song. If I had to choose any song to write a third act breakup to, it would be White Horse. It literally would be White Horse. Oh my god, it's my favourite Taylor Swift song of all time. And it's about the owners of a Disneyland. It's basically Disneyland. Billionaires. I love rich people. I don't love rich people. I love reading about rich people that aren't like the real rich people. I really want to read this. I don't want to ruin it. But I'm psyching myself out of that by putting it on this list. And I'm going to see how I get on with it. So those are my 10 slump busting books. Hopefully they work for you. If you are in a slump and needed just a little nudge. I know that there's nothing new here, but I just wanted to chat. And this is what I wanted to chat about. I started to get a little bit tired towards the end of this video. I'm starting to feel really fatigued. My boyfriend's a little bit ill. Hopefully I'm not getting ill. But hopefully I didn't get too squinty. The lights got really low, so we'll see. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I will speak to you again soon. Goodbye.